Okay, anyways, this was my 7-year shop anniversary, which is so exciting. And I know that it's kind of related to work, and this is my personal planner, but for me, that's a personal achievement as well. So I decided to mark this in. And then on March 3rd, I started taking magnesium tablets to help regulate my sleep. My sister's a pharmacist, and she said magnesium is safer to take than melatonin, and apparently it helps with the bathroom as well. But anyways, I am taking it for sleep, and yeah, I started on the 3rd, so it's been a little under a month. Have I noticed anything? I mean, it's not like knocking me out of sleep or anything like that. It's not that strong, but I do find that during the day, I feel a lot more well rested. I really notice effects, especially if I don't take magnesium. Like, I just feel very sluggish and foggy, especially if I don't sleep well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna continue taking it. But of course, this is just personal to me. Okay. And then I also mentioned this previously, but I took my dad to the ER on the 11th and 12th. Well, we went on the 11th and then we stayed there overnight. So I kind of just did a lettering to span over the 2 days. And then I had to call some specialist offices for his eye. I had special deliveries to 2 of my customers on the 22nd. I got them some pastries and also granola bars. And then this was a really bad mental health week, so I put this funny little emoji there. And this is where I marked going to the Marvel station. And then my mom's foot has been hurting, so we took her to the family doctor and podiatrist on these 2 days. So I put down the 2 little car stickers. So that is my monthly spread for March, and I haven't done anything for April yet, but that is that. And then let's keep going. So this is where I last left off, and this was the anniversary week, so I had to go nuts with the anniversary washi tapes. This muted Galaxy Rainbow washi is my favorite thing in the world. The foil is a steel blue, so it's not like a bright blue where it's like clashing with your spreads or anything, but it's a very slight hint of blue, and I think it's so beautiful. And then this is a Lucky Charms cereal washi. This spread is very full. This is the next week. Again, quite empty on these 2 days because I was dealing with my dad's health issues, and I was reading like a bunch of books at the same time, and so I doodled the covers. I highly recommend the book Untold Night and Day. It is a very short book, so if you're just trying to get into reading, or if you don't typically read, I think you'll really enjoy this one and you'll find it easy to get into. So yeah, those were my current reads for that week. Not current anymore. And then for this week, let's see. Yeah, I think this was also a very bad mental health week. So here I'm saying I'm having an off week, too much on my plate, and hence this is very empty. Again, my planners often reflect how I'm doing during that week. If it's a very low energy week, then I don't force myself to fill stuff out. And then the following week, I had my book club meeting. I don't know if you noticed, but something that I have been enjoying is making little icons like hearts and coffee beans to differentiate from the little bullet points. No real reason, I just think it's really cute. So I use the coffee beans to mark when I go to a cafe and do whatever. Here I made a section for groceries and then feelings. A rough week, but ended on a good note. And it's kind of like a coffee theme this week. And then this is this current week, so we have a little bit of March and a little bit of April as well. And I started doing this thing where I rank my days out of, or not really rank, rate, that's more accurate. I rate my days out of 5. So Monday was -5, Tuesday was 4, Wednesday was 2, Thursday was 1, and then yesterday was a very good day, 5 out of 5. And then today I will be baking chocolate chip cookies with my friend, which I'm very excited about. Oh my gosh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. And this is in my opinion, the most perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe. I have baked this 3 times prior, and I made little adjustments each time, and I think this is a final form. It's unfortunately not plant-based because it uses butter and eggs, but I do have a plant-based chocolate chip recipe that I have yet to perfect. So that is my next goal. I do both plant-based and regular baking. So yeah, anyways, this is a recipe that we will be using today. So those are all of my spreads for March in my Hobonichi weeks. I don't think anything too crazy, but again, I don't know what it is, but I am in such a better mood today and yesterday. And I'm just feeling so inspired and creative, and I hope that in my April video, I will be able to show you a lot more fun spreads. We still have one more planner to show. This is my everything planner. It is my Hobonichi cousin, and I think we have some fun spreads for March. And okay, this pocket is getting a little bit out of hand. I am getting a bit lazy and I'm just shoving everything into this pocket, but we won't talk about that. So I do have one exciting update in my Hobonichi cousin. I felt like I wasn't utilizing my year at a glance section very well. So what I've decided to do was at the bottom, I'm going to doodle like a continued scenery. I haven't done so for March yet, but I will do that later today. But I retroactively did it for January and February. And yeah, I think when I finish, it's just going to be one long scenery of doodles, and I think it's going to be so much fun. Also, I wasn't sure what to do at the top, and I think what I'm going to start doing is list out one positive thing that happened during the month, one negative thing that happened during the month, and then one neutral thing. And again, I just had this idea like this month, so I have to retroactively do it for January and February, but moving forward, I think I really like this idea of just picking out some highlights. And then for the monthly section, this is my March spread. I didn't have as many parcels as I did last month, just because this month in the business we were mostly focusing on shipping out orders rather than having new stuff come in. So just mostly supplies and such. Thank goodness here I wrote correctly that it's a 7-year anniversary and not 5-year. I still don't know where I got that from. And yeah, there is a lot of overlap between my Hobonichi cousin and Hobonichi weeks monthly sections. But this just covers a lot more because I also incorporate work stuff. And in general, I've said this many times, but I don't really use the monthly section functionally, so this is more for fun. So I don't really mind that there's some overlap. And then let's move on to the weekly section. Okay, so this was my 7-year anniversary week on Sunday. And of course, I had to use the Lucky Charms kit. I did an entire plan with me on this, and it does look a little bit chaotic. Like so many stickers, so much writing, and I know it seems a little bit overwhelming, but I honestly love this so much. And the thing is, like, while I'm going through the week and planning, it's not very overwhelming. I think it's only overwhelming when you look at it at the end of the week and you see all of the writing and stickers. But yeah, during the week, this was really, really fun to plan. And then Sunday, I really like this section where I doodled a bunch of things to summarize my night, just because I didn't have too much time to pick out stickers and stuff. And then this week, very realistic. Again, my dad had his health issues, and so this was pretty empty. I could have gone back and filled in all of the stuff, but I was like, I think this is a good reflection of how this week went. So I'm just going to keep it as is. And there were still a few things that I wanted to document. I just, again, made little doodles. And then moving on, I did kind of like a daisy theme for the first half of the week. And then I think I got too lazy for the second half of the week. So I didn't make any further daisy doodles. But I do still quite like this. I think it's really fun, especially for spring. And I just used little colored pencils. Here I wrote, "Spring forward into sleep deprivation," which is so true. This was a 100% all pen week, which I did a plan with me on, and I really like this. I just used my gel pen and then I think 2 different Tombow markers to shade in the gray areas, and then I also used my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, the usual, to do all of the fun lettering. And I found it really fun to just make all of these little doodle icons and such. And then this is this current week. I'm using the February snail mail subscription stickers. And I love how tiny all of these stickers are. And then this was the April Fool's Plan With Me thing, which actually today, which is Saturday, it's a lot more eventful than tomorrow, which is Sunday. And so what I'm actually doing is replanning Saturday on Sunday, and I'm just gonna skip planning Sunday. I hope that made sense. So I will explain this a bit more in my April planner update. And then let's move on to the daily section. Okay, so of course with March, I just had to start off with green and clovers and all of the Lucky Charms themes. So I wrote, "Hello March, please be good to me." Yikes, I was very hopeful. Yeah, this was a very busy day, and especially with my busy days, I really need to structure my day basically in 5-minute increments. Like, that is how tight sometimes my schedule becomes. So on this day, I just wrote down some main things that I really needed to hit the deadline for. So that is what that was. I had a nail appointment on this day. And then here I spilled some water. And so you can't really see it, to be honest, but I just used my Tombow marker and outlined the water and drew a little sad face. And I think that's kind of cute. And then this is my new packing label. So if you get your order packed by me, this is a label that you will get. This is when I started taking my magnesium supplements, and that's a doodle of a bottle. Very glamorous. Here I sketched out how I wanted to take one of my Instagram photos, just a little thumbnail. This was the eve of my 7-year shop anniversary, and it was incredibly hectic. Published stickers early. Yeah, for this month, I've been really loving just like adding little speech bubbles everywhere for things that I want to make comments on. And then I just write my journal entries around it. This was the actual anniversary. As you can see, very crazy. This was like the 5-hour increment schedule that I was talking about. And then on this day, I just completely treated myself. I had a strawberry shortcake to celebrate that was shared with my parents. And then I also got the Magnum plant-based salted caramel ice cream bars. If you are plant-based, or even if you're not, I highly recommend these ice cream bars. They taste amazing, and the first time I tried them, I honestly had to double check that they were actually plant-based. I was like, there's no way. Anyways, I'm very passionate about this popsicle. And then I used the Planner Supplies washi, which is my favorite thing in the world. March 6th, I had a headache apparently, and then I also handmade some everything bagels for my dad because he has an everything bagel every morning, and our local store was sold out of them. This was obviously not a very good day. I wrote, "Bad mental health evening, sometimes just give up on the day and move on." That is true. I think so, at least. And then because it wasn't a very good day, I decided to be very mindful and take care of myself on this day. I went to a cafe, got a croissant, coffee, picked up some snacks, stuff like that. Not much to say about this spread, I think. I do really like this frog sticky note doodle. I want to create like an entire collection based around frogs. I think that'll be fun. And like ponds and lilies and stuff. And then this was like the crazy weird day that I was talking about. So I was supposed to go to dinner, and then we rescheduled, and then we rescheduled the rescheduling. So that was fun. On this day, I woke up super bloated. I think it was from all the salt from the day before. And then I got this like shaker salad thing from the local grocery store, which I was really excited about. It was very overpriced, but I was so excited about the fact that it was in a shaker bottle. Yeah, this was when I took my dad again to the emergency room, so not going to talk about that again. This was the peach pie recipe that I followed, except we didn't have peach and I used nectarines, and it actually turned out just as good, so yeah. And then I also baked chocolate chip cookies. Anytime I try a new recipe, I put it in a recipe card like this, so it stands out. The next day, it was very busy, and I had this like entire day planned, but then everything got canceled because my dad got a last minute appointment for specialists, which obviously was a good thing. So I just had to shift things around a little bit. And then Tuesday, it was also very, very crazy, and I just wasn't in the mood, nor did I have the time to make a to-do list even. So it was just one of those days. And again, I just hope that these flip throughs really show you that it's not always like a perfect spread every single time. All right, and then this was the start of my Daisy theme. So the past week or so was just really hard on me, and on Wednesday I just really needed some time to myself, and so I went out of the house, and I don't think I brought my laptop even. I just basically journaled and read my book, and I checked out of social media, all of that, and it was so lovely. I really, really like these Daisy doodles and this little me time doodle and my little grocery haul. And I started this like mindful morning thing where I just really keep myself grounded and ensure that I'm making time for myself. Here I drew a little daisy garland. I was reading on the go and I didn't have my book journal with me, so I just wrote some notes here. And then this was a little date night. We watched the 400 Blows, which was excellent. And then I had sushi and they had Five Guys. So yeah, that was fun. And then continuing on with the Daisy theme, I had a croissant and drip coffee. And then on this day, I bought some ingredients to make my own trail mix at home, which was super exciting for me. And I doodled everything that I got. So almonds, cashews, raisins, ground flax, walnuts, pepitas, and banana chips. So that was exciting. I'm just noticing that I haven't really checked things off, but I can promise I actually did get things done. I think I just forgot to check things off. Here I was doodling some ideas for new bean cards. Wink, wink. I just noticed I don't think I used any of these ideas. I had a sudden burst of inspiration for a different idea, so I think I'll save these ideas for my next round of bean cards. Okay, and then this was the book club day, and our book club for next month, or this month rather, is The Great Circle, and I was supposed to finish doodling the cover, but I haven't done so. I will do that later. I'm about 60 pages into this book, and it's really, really good so far. Wednesday was a very bad mental health day, and this is when I doodled the struggle bus. This was like completely spontaneous, and it was literally like right before I went to bed. This is why all of the lettering and lines are so wonky. I was like half asleep, and then the next day I was like, I really like this doodle, and then I ended up turning this into a vinyl and then later into a sticker. So, you know, sometimes struggles, in this case struggle buses, result in good things. Yeah. And then here I wrote new day. I was reading The Great Circle on the go, and I didn't have my book journal with me, so I just journaled it here. I have been speaking for 55 minutes, so getting a little bit tired. Okay, moving on. We're almost done. March 24th, I once again decided to do some work outside, so I made a little doodle of myself. On the 25th, this was a big design day, and I was so happy about it. I've just been packing so many orders. I've been working on subscription stuff that I haven't had much time to design, and you know, as a creative, designing just always feeds my soul. So yeah, this was a really good day. And I wrote, holy shit, it's 11 p.m. so I don't want to jinx it, but I had a really good day for once. And I think this really just shows how bad March was. Like, I was so relieved that this was a good day. I actually purposely didn't finish off the spread because I'm going to be filming a video on how I kind of scrapbook and memory keep special things. So this is going to be, I think, next week's video. I think nothing too exciting here. Tuesday, again, I was reading The Great Circle, and here I was doodling ideas for the April order freebies, and I have the struggle bus and also the Hot Mess Express doodled here. This was Wednesday, and as you can see, it looks very different from my usual structure. So this was actually a note that Christy included with her Trader Joe's parcel to me, and it was so sweet, so I just had to stick it down in my planner. I also find it really funny when I get notes and stuff from customers and they actually use my products. Like, I don't know why, it just makes me so happy. So Christy used the January subscription notepad, and she also taped it with the classic emojis onto like a box of treats. And so yeah, that made me really happy. And then Wednesday, I was just not having it. I wasn't in the mood to make a to-do list, so I just decided to journal about my day. Thursday, I went back to my usual layout of having a to-do list section, and I just used some labels this time to make the headers. I don't know why, I just felt like it. And then here I was writing down some candidates for the August Wacky Holidays because I'm currently working on the August monthly kits. And then this was March 31st, the last day of the month. And again, I was like, phew, finally a good day. Just the sheer relief when it's like 11 p.m. or whatever, and nothing bad has happened during that day, and it's just an elephant lifted off my chest, and I just had to make a doodle about that. So yeah, that is basically it. I did already start I did already start my spread for April, but I will save that for my next video, or rather my next update. So I think this was one of my more chattier ones. I'm just in a really good mood today, and I just want to keep talking about planners. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye. Hi everyone. Yikes. April is now over. I can't believe it. I will be showing you all of my spreads that I did in April, and let me just tell you, you are in for a treat. It's laughable just how many things happened, but I will get into that. I think this will be a fun episode. Okay, so typically I start with my smallest planner, which is my bullet journal, but I'm just too excited, and I want to show you guys my newest edition. Yes, I started another journal. So this is a Stillman and Byrne, I think. Yikes, not sure if I'm saying that right. It's a sketchbook, and it's a, I think, mixed media sketchbook in the Zeta series. And I decided to start this literally a few days ago on April 24th. I went through an emotionally, I think, traumatic few days, and I just felt like I really needed some sort of change in my life, and one of them is incorporating hobbies back into my daily life again, and that typically involves reading and art of some form. And so I decided to start an art journal, very low pressure. I'm not committing to filling it out every single day or anything, just whenever I feel like it. So on Monday, I bought some veggies, which I was very excited about, some rainbow carrots, and my first ever acorn squash, and it was delicious. And then I also got an Americano with cinnamon. And so yeah, this was done with watercolor. I just wrote a little journal entry, and then the next day on the 25th, I did a little sketch with colored pencil of this area that I was running around. It is so beautiful outside these days, perfect running weather, and so I've been running outside a lot, and I was ending my run, and I was looking ahead, and I was like, this is the most gorgeous scenery I've ever seen. Let me actually show you. So this was a picture that I took, and I just did a quick sketch with my Caran d'Ache colored pencils, and I really like how that turned out. It was very quick to do, but felt very good. And then I drew these on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. These were just my running outfits for each of the days, and I tried to vary my poses. I'm not very good at drawing people poses, so the anatomy might be a little bit off, but yeah, I thought this was kind of cute, and I hope to keep going. I know this isn't exactly planner related, but I feel like if you're interested in like notebooks and stationery, you would enjoy seeing that. Back to regular scheduled programming. My pocket bullet journal, this is a Leuchtturm bullet journal. I did a few more entries in April. Still not a lot, but I do like the ones that I did. Okay, so this is where I left off last time. I didn't finish the habit tracker for this past month, but I can retroactively fill it out soon. I just have like 1 week where I didn't fill it out. And this was I guess this was my first official entry. I really like this page. So this was inspired by one of Van Gogh's paintings. My friend went to the Chicago Art Museum and bought several art prints, and this was one of them. And I saw it and I was so inspired. So I basically just made little doodles of the painting around the page, I guess, and then I just made a to-do list and a little other journal entry. Yeah, a bit of a random spread, but I think it's very creative and I like this. So yeah, this is my progress tracker for marking the July to December monthly kits. So in early May, I will be releasing the monthly kits and coordinating add-ons for July, August, September, October, November, December. And I was having a very hard time motivating myself to work on it just because I have to do each of these things. So Hobo Cousin, Hobo Weeks, regular washi strips, sticky notes, labels, bullet journal for 6 months. So that is a lot. And so to motivate myself, I told myself if I finish the Hobonichi Cousin for all 6 months, I get a croissant, matcha latte, cranberry scone. And then if I finish all 4 of the coordinating add-ons, I get a pistachio croissant and an iced latte. And as you can see, as of yesterday, I fully finished everything. The only thing is, the matcha latte is the only thing that I've treated myself to so far. The croissant, scone, and the iced latte, I haven't had the time to go get them yet. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it was more of a psychological thing. And then yeah, I skipped from April 3rd all the way to April 21st. Mostly because I was filling this out in between. But this was a fun spread. I had a section for personal, work, and other, and the little bullet points are just like little doodles. I will get into this a little bit later, but this was a day that my dad left for China, so I doodled a little, actually let me zoom you in. So we have a little car, airplane, grocery bag, email, a little water droplet, question mark, phone call, pencil, paper, money icon, another email, and a message. And then on this day I roasted some veggies. Then we have Saturday and Sunday, and I was trying something new. I was trying to get adjusted to a brand new routine, and so I thought it would be beneficial to make some sort of schedule. And I used gray to mark all of my work, yellow to mark in strictly me time things, and then pink to mark in more like family matters. So making lunch for my mom and also like my sister coming and stuff. On this day, I wrote down a recipe for making homemade guacamole, but I actually made it on Sunday instead. And yeah, Sunday was a crazy day as well. And then my last spread in my bullet journal for April was this cleaning tracker because I had a sudden urge to just clean my entire life. My goal is to check off one thing every single day. So far we're doing good. And I categorize everything into categories. So yeah, again, not a lot of spreads in April, but I really do like each one, and I'm excited to see what I do in May. All right, then we're gonna move on to my Hobonichi weeks. I don't think I have anything too exciting for this month, to be honest. This is my movement tracker. I've been better about keeping up with this, and it is just so satisfying to see all of the steps and all of the workouts that I've done. I'm honestly very proud of myself for how consistent I've been, and it is one of like the few highlights of my day. And then this is my monthly section. So the theme for April was cherry blossoms and all things Japanese. So I just love this so much. I love the colors, and the little dongos are so cute, and onigiri. Last month I did a little reflection at the bottom, which I have not done for this year or this month so far, but I will do that after this video, I think. So again, I've been using my fountain pen. So this was done with the TWSBI Eco in the fine nib and just with black ink. So we have April 1st and 2nd. And then this was the official full week of April, and I decided to change up the layout a little bit. So this was my previous layout where I just did bullet points on this side. But then what I decided to do for this week was split it. So I had a section just for rating my day and then a section for events. And then this is still meals, and then this is like anything that I wanted to do. The next week, I decided to kind of squish this like bullet point column so that it's a lot skinnier, and that way I had more space to write down my events. And for this week, I, as you can see, drew little stars, but I felt like it wasn't representing my days well enough, so I opted for using emoji heads during this week, and I think it looks a lot better. Like when I look at it right away, I can kind of see which days were good and which days were bad, and I really like that. Okay, and then this week I really changed things up, shocker. I decided to use my TWSBI Eco in the extra fine nib, and I have it inked up with Konpeki, which is a blue ink, and I really like this. And to make things all matchy-matchy, I'm using the Night Sky washi tape from January. And then these emoji heads, they're slightly different from these ones. This is like on washi paper, so it blends into the paper a lot better. And this was a very tumultuous week, which again I will get into in my Hobonichi Cousin. And then this current week, I decided to use the affirmations emoji washi. And it's not fully filled out yet. I haven't done anything on the sidebar. That is basically it for my Hobonichi weeks. Nothing too crazy. A very short update for this month. Okay, we are on to the most exciting part of this video, where I'm going to tell you everything that happened in April. But let me quickly just show you the monthly spread. My monthly spreads match across the different planners. So in my Hobonichi Cousin, it is also a cherry blossom theme. And I haven't really filled out the last month, or the last week just yet, but I will do that again after this video. Again, I don't use my monthly section too much, so sometimes I do leave it quite blank. Let's move on to the weeklies. So I'm gonna be like very, real with you guys. This is an example of a week where I was just so busy and I couldn't finish writing in certain days. And because I was so busy, I just had to keep moving on, and I didn't have time to go back and fill it out. And by the time it was like the end of the week, I just forgotten what had happened on Wednesday, so I was like, I'll just leave it blank. And I think it kind of represents just how busy I was, so I don't really mind that this is empty. You can see that on Wednesday I worked 15 hours, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, this was a self-care themed week. This is a following week. This was completely different. So I was just going through a really tough time this week, mentally, and I just didn't feel like scheduling things in was really working for me, at least for this specific week, because I would just be hit with like waves of sadness, waves of fatigue, where I just physically could not work. And so just time blocking wasn't really working. So for this week, I decided to do more of a journaling approach. So like, for example, here in the morning, I made a journal entry, but it's not like specific to 9 a.m. It's just like throughout the day, I make these chronological entries, and I didn't have pressures on myself to fill it all the way up or anything, although I did end up filling out a lot of it. And I also used a fountain pen to write this in, so that's why the ink looks a little bit different from my other weeks. But yeah, I think I will definitely revisit doing a similar spread like this in the future, especially if I just don't feel like hourly planning is working for me. And then the planner crisis continues. I just randomly decided to do a rainbow week, and not only a rainbow week with stickers, but a rainbow week with my writing as well. So I just pulled out a bunch of colored gel pens, and that's what I wrote with. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of how this turned out. I just don't like it very much, and especially because I think some of my pen choices were a little too pastel, so it's kind of hard to read, but that's okay. I think changing things up and trying new things is a good thing to do. So there is this week, and then this is this current week, and I have to say I am obsessed with this look. I am coordinating this with the daily section, which you will see later, but basically I'm just doodling a bunch of random fruits, and it's actually very unintentional that all of the fruits have similar colors, so everything just looks so cohesive and I love it so much. And since I'm filming on Saturday morning, I will show you the rest of this week another time. So that is my weekly section for this week. And then let's move on to the daily section. All right, so hello April. On April 1st, I did the sneak peek for the April subscription, and I chose to do a sneak peek of the sticky note or notes and reminders washi tape, and this is probably one of my new favorite washi tapes. I think it is so cute. And then I also baked cookies on this day with my friend Vihara. Then on Sunday, I decided to just take myself out on a morning date. I wasn't feeling too well, and I felt like I needed something hearty in my stomach. So I went to this like brunch spot, and I got an avocado toast with fruits and coffee. And the story behind this is that I had avocado on my wrist and I accidentally smudged it onto the page. I was filling out my journal at the brunch spot, so that is why. And I was like, oh no, like it's so obvious. So what I ended up doing was taking my Tombow marker and I just covered up the avocado smudge, which might be a little bit gross, but you know, you can't really tell, I think. So there's that. And then Monday, oh, good morning, a new week. Please let this be a good one. I can't remember if it was a good one, but yeah, I got some new workout gear, which I was really excited about. And these two stickers are from Planner Monkey Co. I decided to make a little section writing down some good things for this day because I just wanted to focus on some good things. Yeah, I smudged my ink by accident. I just used 3 different Tombow markers and did a little backdrop. I don't know why I did that. It kind of looks a little weird. And then on Thursday, I went to, I think, a cafe, and I caught up on some reading and also had an Americano. Okay, and then on Friday, I sneaked the Office Emojis washi tape, and this is another one of my favorites. But I thought this was funny because I went to another cafe to get work done, and it was crazy because my workspace was so packed. I had my laptop, I had a bunch of journals, and then I also had water, green tea, and iced Americano. I probably looked like a crazy working woman. But yeah, I just doodled my drinks. And then on Saturday, it was a date night on FaceTime. We had sushi, he had yakisoba, and then we watched the movie called The Ascent, which was excellent, and then we had a nice discussion. Okay, I bought some treats for one of my customers in the US because she always sends me goodies from Trader Joe's, and I wanted to send some things back, so this is what I picked up. On Monday, we finished Q1 pre-orders of the subscriptions, which I was so excited about. And these deco stickers are from Pixels by Vix, which she's unfortunately no longer in business. She moved to England to get her master's. I was like, I cannot hoard these stickers, they're too pretty, so I decided to use this. I write today like every single day, but for some reason, like on this day I messed up because I was thinking about work, so I started writing a W. So yeah, off to a great start. And then I had a little entry guess it was raining a lot on this day. And then I again wanted to focus on some good things of this day. Then we have Wednesday. I decided to write down a little quotation from one of Taylor Swift's songs. It says, "And every day is like a battle, but every night with us is like a dream." On this day, I decided to walk to a local park, and I sat on one of the logs and did some reading because it was so gorgeous. So that is a little depiction of myself. Thursday, me trying to take on this day. That's kind of funny. Okay, and then on this day, I was very excited. I just realized it's out of focus. On this day, I was very excited because I booked 3 flights, which I haven't flown anywhere for vacation in so long. I haven't been on a vacation in so long. So yeah, come November, I will be flying from Vancouver to Chicago, and then Chicago to Chicago to Orlando, Florida for a planner conference, and then from Orlando back to Vancouver. And you bet I am going to make a journaling vlog out of it because I think it is going to be so much fun. Also on this day, I ordered 250 lint truffles because I am in charge of planning and organizing my sister and her husband's gender reveal / baby shower. It's going to be a combined thing. And one of the ideas that I had was to have 2 candy jars, and then one will have like a mix of different pink lint truffles, and then another one will have all of the different blue lint truffles, and then the guests can just like scoop lint truffles home, and I think that'll be really fun. On Friday, it was a very busy day. What happened here? I guess I was very tired, and then around this time I started my obsession with sardines. So that is a doodle of sardines. I will not explain myself further other than that. Okay, moving on to Saturday. This is a gorgeous washi sticker. This is a gorgeous washi sticker from Two Little Bees. I just wrote day 4, and then I covered it with this washi sticker. There's a little bit of a glare, so that's why it looks weird. So Monday was my friend Vihara's birthday, and so on Sunday I decided to start prepping for the cake that I was going to bake her. I made a lemon poppy seed cake, so I just wrote down the recipe that I followed, and I love all of the lemon doodles. And then this was a sketch of the idea, and I think it actually followed up pretty close. And then on Monday, I did a daily journaling vlog on this day, made it kind of like a Happy Meal theme because we had several big deliveries coming in. This was also Vihara's birthday. Oh, and also we were shipping subscriptions. I had a meeting and brought her the cake. I had Chipotle for dinner, which, like, how do you even draw a burrito bowl? I don't know. Hopefully that looks like a burrito bowl. And then I had coffee and a hazelnut gelato, which was so good. And then, yeah, we were preparing the subscriptions. On Tuesday, it was a meeting for my book club, which was super fun. So I used the Book Nerd washi tape 2.0. Okay, so this begins my rather emotionally traumatizing few days. So on this day, we got the notice that my grandmother back in China was unstable again, and the doctors were very, very worried. So by extension, we were also very, very worried here as well. And then on Thursday, I helped my dad just book a very last minute flight back to China. And so on this day, like, it was so crazy. You know, he had to get his COVID test. He had to get his like visa thing ready. Obviously, he hadn't planned for this, so nothing was packed. And also, my dad plays a very important role in my business as well. And so he was like giving me a very quick crash course of everything that he does. So anything that is like super important, I could take over. And it was, yeah, I don't even know. It felt like a complete dream, or rather a nightmare, I guess. But yeah, as you can tell by my entries, I had very little time and things were very erratic. Friday, this was the day that my dad flew back to China. Again, a very crazy day. And the reason why I wrote today 5 billion times is because I was practicing for making actual stickers of my today lettering. So yeah. And then on Saturday, this was like my first full day of just like really trying to get a handle of things. And it's funny, here I say my new routine is to get up by 6:20, but since then I realized I need to actually get up at 5:45 in order to get everything that I need to get done in the day. So there's that. On this day I roasted carrots and bell peppers, made spinach and egg soup, and I also had some rye bread. And then on this day, so my dad left on this day, and then on this day I had a breakup. So I told you April was insane. And then on Sunday I wrote things will be okay. Let's move on. Okay, on Monday this was the start of my fruits theme. So as I showed in my weekly section, I'm kind of coordinating the fruits. So this is a cherry theme, and then this was strawberries and bananas. Oh, by the way, I want to say for the cherries and the strawberries and bananas, I started this because I was inspired by these patterns from a brand called Baggu. They do like reusable bags and other like accessories, and they have really funky patterns, so I was following that. But then the rest of the week I just decided to make up my own fruit doodles. So yeah, then we have pineapples. On this day my sister visited and we picked up some coffee from Blend's Coffee. She had the milk chocolate hot cocoa. My mom had the hojicha oat latte, and then I had my classic Americano. This was a kiwi theme. And then we had just way too many overripe bananas, so I decided to make banana chocolate chip cookies without a recipe. And I thought I could trust my intuition. They turned out okay. They were edible. My sister really liked them. For me, they weren't really my thing, so I gave it a 3 out of 5. I definitely think I do need to follow recipes though. Moving on to Friday, this is probably my favorite. I did a dragon fruit theme, and a lovely customer named Erin, she was like, I hear you're having a bad few days, and I decided to bake you a cake, and it was just the nicest thing ever. She made a hummingbird cake, which I've never heard of, but it was so good. And so we met up at a cafe, and she just dropped it off for me, and thank you so much, Erin, if you're watching. I made a doodle of a fountain pen that I'm dreaming about. I don't know if I'm gonna get it yet, but yeah, I really want it. So for now, it is just in my daydreams. And then this is today. It is very early in the morning. I started filming this at 6 in the morning, so I don't really have anything filled out, but as you can see, I am doing kind of like a mango theme, and I will leave the rest up for next month to show you. So again, this was an interesting month, a lot of unexpected things, but I'm really trying to look at all of the positive things that have happened, and try to learn from all of the not so great things. Anyways, I hope you had a great month, and if you didn't, I hope that May is a wonderful month for you. Thank you always for all of your support, and I will see you next week. Bye. Hello, happy November. This is a combined planner update of September and October. Usually I do this at the end of every month, but I missed last month because I was busy in Toronto. I'm gonna go over my accessory journals first, and then I will dive into my Hobonichi Cousin. So I'm very pleased because I was able to finish my pocket bullet journal, I think mid-October. I am actually gonna save the flip through for a separate video because I kind of want to just do a single video dedicated to flipping through this bullet journal. And because I finished this journal, of course my little reward is I get to start a new one, and I decided to go with this black hardcover with the pencil emoji. So far I haven't really done much, to be honest. On the inner cover I put down some vinyls and I wrote belongs to Helen. I thought this key and lock vinyl was a really good idea, especially for journals and diaries that are a little bit more personal. And then for the table of contents, I just have October there. I stuck on this sticky note with some key information. I just counted the grid squares so that I don't have to count every single time I want to do a spread. And then because I started this again mid-October, I had this idea to do like a half October spread, which I thought was kind of funny. And yeah, I just color code work and life things. This is kind of a scrappy spread. So I wanted to kind of outline my morning routines, and I noticed that I have 3 distinct types of routines. One when I'm feeling extremely energized in the morning, one where I'm just feeling normal, and then one where I'm feeling a little bit low. And I really wanted to define it like this because just like, for example, when I'm feeling low, I don't want to feel inadequate because I wasn't able to, for example, go on a walk. I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah, I just wanted to outline my different types of routines. Okay, and then the only other thing that I've done so far is my 2025 holidays design list, which is a lot. I have not finished writing things down. I will show you my list from last year. So this was the 2024 holidays. General, Canadian, United States. And then I think I actually, oh yeah, there's more over here. Pride, Japan, Christian, Jewish, China. And then this was me when I was done. Mexico. I think I did do Hindu holidays. I don't know why I didn't make a list there. But anyways, it is that time of year again, and I am making my design list. Nothing has been checked off, but I have already started designing. Typically, I first make this list in Excel so that I can easily like move things around. However, when I'm actually designing, I do prefer referring off from a paper checklist. So that is why I'm transferring everything onto paper. And I am still in the process of doing that. And then this is Australia. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, I will continue this later. Anyways, yeah, I am gonna try to finish this checklist today so that I can continue with my regular bullet journal spreads in here. Hopefully in the next planner update, I will have a little bit more to show in this pocket journal. The next thing is my reading journal, which I don't believe I finished any books in October. Yikes. Oh, never mind, I did. October 4th, so quite a few weeks ago. Okay, so in September, I finished Tom Lake, which was a really good book. I think I gave it 4 stars. I need to check Goodreads and fill that out later. But yeah, I remember it to be a really sweet story. So there's that. And then I'm still reading She Has Her Mother's Laugh. I think in my previous update, I finished part 1 and I'm currently reading part 2. I'll be honest, part 2 has been kind of dry and boring, so I haven't been too eager to read this, but I will keep going because it has been pretty interesting. So yeah, in October I finished Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I think I gave this book either 2 stars or 3 stars. I thought it started off really, really strong, and especially since I'm really close to my sister, I was really looking forward to reading about these 4 sisters. But so again, I think the beginning was really strong, but midway through it just kind of fell flat for me, and I didn't really care for it towards the end. And then also in October, I started reading Feminism is for Everybody by Bell Hooks. This was a book given to me by Lauren. She is getting her PhD in the gender studies field, and she said that this was a really good introduction to feminism. I'm really looking forward to reading more of this in November. I'm just not very educated on feminism. I think a lot of what I know about feminism is what is purported in mainstream media. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about it. Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about is my A6 Hobonichi Techo. And I do plan on making a full video about my setup when it's done, but I'm just so excited that I wanted to show you a little bit early. I am a little bit upset because I accidentally got a little bit of ink on the cover. I need to get a clear cover for this, so I think I might find an appropriate vinyl and put it here. But anyways, my A6 Techo is going to be a recipe book. And again, I will do like a detailed flip through when I finish setting it up. I had this idea because I was getting really tired of having all of my recipes scattered in just like my journals, my pocket bullet journal, and also just like a dedicated recipe book. So I wanted to just compile everything into one recipe book. And I think this is it. I'm using this perpetual calendar section as an index of all of the different categories. And then I also have a tally section. This is where I want to tally up whenever I make a recipe. And then as an example of a recipe page, this is what it looks like. So I thought this left column was perfect for ingredients and also any like personal recipe notes. I just have my title up here, a few points about the times and temperatures, and then the directions. And then I make a little doodle at the bottom. Also, if I get the recipe from somewhere, I just credit wherever I got it from. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little sneak peek. I am really looking forward to filling this up. Let's move on to the bulk of this video, which is my Hobonichi cousin. This is my fitness tracker. I am really behind on writing out my workouts, but I have been consistent with keeping track of my steps. This is my averages and tally for October. Also, in one of my previous updates, I mentioned how when I was in New York and doing my vending, I basically stood in the same spot for like 8 hours. So I didn't hit my 10,000 step streak that I had been keeping up for like, I don't know, 1 to 2 years. So I was talking about how sad I was about that. And I think it was Carrie. I do apologize if I misremembered, but someone mentioned how I should draw little stars because even though I didn't hit 10,000 steps, I was still on my feet for several hours, and I feel like I should get a star for that, you know? So yeah, I just wanted to make a note of that. Anyways, let's move on to the monthlies. This was my September monthly spread. I don't think I have much to say. This is my time in Toronto. And then this is my October. Oh yes, in September, I started color coding my deadlines and important deliveries. I didn't do that for July and August, but I found this to be really, really helpful in seeing all of my deliverables for the month. So I kept that up for October as well, and also November. This is my color coding system. If you noticed, yes, this is the same colors that I'm using for my steps tracker, which I know can get a little bit confusing. I want to keep my materials at a minimum, especially when I'm traveling or planning on the go. If I had a whole other set of colors for my deadlines, then I would need to bring this for my steps tracker and another set of markers for my deadlines. So yeah, that is why I'm using the same colors. November 5th is going to be a really busy day, and I couldn't fit everything in, so I just drew a little arrow. And yeah, December is almost here. Crazy. Moving on to the weeklies. This is the Fountain Pens Emotis Washi Tape, and to go along with the brown theme, this is the Coffee Monsters brown ink, and I didn't fill out Sunday. I get too excited about the next week that I get demotivated on Sundays. I think this is the Office Life washi tape from my April 2023 subscription. This was a really rainy and gloomy week, so I used the 2025 April washi strip. I could not help myself and wait until 2025 to use this. And I love how this turned out. I am also obsessed with these little tiny washi strips that are actually printed on washi paper, and I just stuck it on like the hand-drawn boxes to make it look like I stuck it on there. I think I was having a rough few days. Okay, and then this was a week I traveled to Toronto for my Wonder Pens workshop, and I just went nuts with these travel doodles. I got these stickers from Kubo and Lucy, I think. I also put down the Around the World washi tape and layered on top a weekend banner. Oh, I want to talk about this habit tracker. So when I went to New York, I did my usual habit tracker, but as you can see, it really made no sense because I couldn't really keep up with anything while traveling. So for Toronto, since I was leaving midweek, I decided to split my habit tracker into two. So Monday through Wednesday was my usual habits, and then Thursday through Sunday was kind of like a modified version. And instead of working out, I put down this meals icon. This was also an overnight flight, so I drew the line all the way through Thursday. Okay, and then I think I came back on the 2nd. No, I came back on the 1st. This is a Coffee Time 2.0 washi tape, which I thought was appropriate because I was very sleep deprived these few days, and I was catching up a lot on work. And again, Sundays basically empty. And then I did a plan with me on this. I used one of the large journaling kits that I released. I was just testing it on this weekly section, and I like how it turned out. We were supposed to have a family dinner on this day, but it got rescheduled, so there's that. And yeah, this is when we had the family dinner. I used the Midnight Magic washi tape. This is a pure black with silver foil, and it is so pretty. I also just used this black highlighter and the 0.8 jelly roll for the black headings. Really like this combo. Oh, and this week I went swimming with my friend, and I don't know how to swim, so that was interesting. Okay, and then this was last week. These are some cozy like living room style doodles. I think I got this from Jet Pens. I had a meeting and an appointment, but I put it on the wrong day, so I moved it to the other side. These were some early office days. If I recall correctly, I think some machine broke or something, and I had to go in and fix it. And I have to go in before the workday starts so that nothing is impeded. And then this is this week, which is Halloween, so of course I had to use the Spooky Bookshelf washi tape, which I love. I put it at the bottom because I usually wake up early, so I didn't want to cover up the 6 a.m. slot. To add a little bit of decoration, I just drew a bunch of these, like, I don't know what they're called, like hanging strings with spiders, dots, and hearts, and I think it looks really cool. Ooh, I'm really excited about this. As you can see, I have been very consistent with my weekly habit tracker, and a lot of you really enjoyed the weekly overview stickers that I have in my updated Hobonichi Cousin weekly kits. So I made a bunch of these weekly overview stickers on washi paper, and I think there are like 7 different color palettes. This one is the black one with the white text, and I think it looks super cool. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to advertise, but I just got really excited about that. And yeah, those are all of my weekly spreads. Moving on to the dailies, which we have around 60 pages to go through since I have to do September as well. Okay, so September 1st, this is when I impulsively purchased this book. So that is my doodle of that, and I was making a little sketch of how I wanted to format the recipes. And also, I was continuing on with my Finish the Washi Roll Challenge. If you know, you know. That is a little stick figure doodle of me running. I think I did an entire plan with me for this week, so I won't talk too much about it. For the prompts, I stamped on this open planner and pen doodle, and I drew the question mark inside. On this day, I had a sushi dinner with my best friend and her boyfriend, so I jotted down what we had. These are some swatches from the Wonder Pens collab, which I will be putting these up on Black Friday, I think. I ordered from the Paper Diaries when they launched their store, and I was really excited, and this came with my order. This was when I opened a new box of tea. I just realized this is French, but this is the roasted dandelion tea, and I doodled some dandelions. I often eat while journaling, and that is why I often get stains on my pages. This is from Kimchi. These outdoorsy stickers you will see very often over the next 50-60 pages because I have really been trying to use up my stationery, and I'm proud to say I have actually finished this set. There are a few, like, you can see like bits of grass, but that's actually just printed on the thingy, but it's not cut out. So yes, I did finish this sheet. Anyways, there's that. And then on this day, I had this random idea of wanting to build my mom a bread slicer. She has a bread maker, and I haven't seen her this excited about something in a very long time. So yeah, I want to build her like a bread slicer machine. Fun fact, I got A+ in woodworking back in high school. So I think there's like some part of me that has a knack for building stuff. Oh yikes. On this day, evidently, I didn't have time to write. I had a bad day. Goal for today is just to make it through, blah, blah, blah. And I have this tabbed, which I should remove because I wanted to show this as an example during my workshop at Wonder Pens, just to show like, yes, I do have pages where I don't do all of this. And then the next day, by contrast, is a lot more full. What happened here? Oh yeah, I got an Amazon delivery of my pill organizer, and I also got some gummy candies. I got a pill organizer to help me remember to take my meds, and I actually lost my organizer, so that says a lot about me. I'm just joking, but not really. On this day, what happened here? Think fast, talk smart, communication. Now I remember. I was starting to really stress out about my workshop and the pop-up. I suck at small talk and just social interactions in general. I started watching a lot of like lectures and TED Talks about how to communicate and talk. Those were my notes from that. Design day and another new tea. This is a nighttime tea. Original with passion flower. Currently, I have 2 chin pimples. My stomach hurts, feeling frustrated, but I don't know at what or what about. And then this piece of washi is so gorgeous. It came with, I think, a card or postcard that one of my customers, Michelle, sent me. So I had to save that and stick it in here. Love that. I based the colors and doodles off of this tea sticker. It's very jarring to have this like pastel spread and flip to something so dark. Again, this is using the Midnight Magic Washi Tape and the black highlighter and 0.8 Jelly Roll combo. These were some notes from an article that I read from the New Yorker. And then, oh yeah, we had Mid-Autumn Festival dinner. Mooncake, egg rolls, I think spinach, sushi, and some fish. This is the outdoorsy stickers that I was talking about. I don't know why I was twitching on this day. And then I got an order from Cezanne, which I was really excited about. I think this is like my first quote-unquote big girl purchase. I wanted to get a sweater and a skirt for my Toronto trip, and I saved a bunch of the labels and the tissue paper for this page. I don't really like to bake and turn on the oven during the summer, but now that it's getting cooler, I made my first batch of granola, and I really like how this turned out. A lot of ripped paper pieces, some floral stickers from Two Little Bees. I was really busy these few days because I was preparing for my workshop, so I guess I didn't have time to write down my to-do list. This was given to me by Corolla. She is a local planner friend, and we have been meeting up at a cafe like once a month. Okay, we have only met up twice so far, but I think we are planning to make it like a monthly thing. So yeah, that was really nice. This spread was done with some stickers from Kelsey. She did a collaboration with Kubo and Lucy, and it is so fun. It is a bunch of like collage-y type stickers, and it's like very different from my usual. I don't know. I don't even think I have a style, but it's very different from my usual style. And it was just so much fun to work with. Going with the flow. Oh yeah, and then when I met up with Corolla, I tested out a bunch of her pens, and she has the coolest pen collection. A bunch of fun nib grinds that I don't typically go for, and I am really interested in getting some specialty grinds now, so that was nice. Using more of Kelsey stickers. Last minute packing, and then this is when I left for Toronto. My flight was at 11:45 p.m. and I got some stuff at the airport. For dinner, we just had Chipotle. This was day one in Toronto. Went to Annex Espresso Bar and had some dinner with John and Liz. Visited Italy again. This was day one of actually teaching the workshops, and it was just, I mean, I was obviously nervous, but overall, amazing vibes. As you can see, I have been really into like ripping things up and pasting it into my journal. This is a very poorly done stamped image of chicken and tuna. I designed these stamps for Wonder Pens. This was signed by Lauren. Gonna treasure this forever. And then these are stickers and washi tape and a little note from Nicole Josephine. I am a big fan of her art, and she came out to my pop-up, and I was really, really honored. And I also got to meet Plan with Abby, who signed my planner. I went to Agenda Cafe with Lauren on this day, and previously, yeah, as you can see, I had like doodles and written stuff underneath, but I just really didn't like how it looked, and because this was such a special day, I don't know, I wanted to fix it up a little bit, so I covered it up with this newspaper sort of thing, and I think this looks a little bit better than what it did previously. Okay, so I have been talking for like an hour, and I am starting to get tired, so I will pause and come back to this in a bit. Okay, I am back. Starting with this spread. I don't think it's actually too interesting because I just came back from Toronto and I was busy catching up on business things. Feeling lost. And a very long entry here. This looks really messy. I put down some of these Trader Joe's stickers, and I don't know why I drew these little spots. I don't know, it makes no sense. This was nice. I went to Waves Coffee with my sister, and we had a long catch up between work and everything. We just haven't really had time to catch up as sisters, so that was lovely. On Sunday, I failed my long run. I think I was supposed to do 9.5 miles, and I only ended up doing like 7.5, but that is okay. On Monday, I got a Subway. Of course, I had to keep the sandwich sticker. On Tuesday, I went on a trail run, which was nice. And here I was brainstorming a little idea for some freebies. These few days, I was experiencing artist block, and I was really proud of myself because I went up to the deli meat counter at the grocery store and I ordered something. I've always wanted to do that, but I've never had the courage, so. Anyways, again, a lot of the outdoorsy stickers while I try to finish up the sheet. It isn't easy, but it is simple. I think that is quite profound. On this day, we got a new cutting machine, which I made a video about on Instagram, and it was working great, but literally 2 days ago, it broke. So, I don't know. It still hasn't been fixed, but I hope that we can fix it, obviously. On this day, I didn't have time to do much, but I did this like roadmap sort of thing, which I often do when I want to document what happened during the day, but I don't necessarily want to write down like an entire paragraph. And for me, doodling is easier than writing. So yeah, I started with game theory, grocery shopping, design, meal prep, tabbed up my planner, a little mental health spiral, watched Cindy's live stream, finished my videos, and worked on spreadsheets. Complete 180. On this day, I felt very loved and whole. My friend and I watched Only Murders in the Building, which we only watched the first episode and I quite liked it, but I didn't continue. I should continue watching that. Really going through it. Oh, I used some of the Evermore stickers. I think this was a day Liam from One Direction passed away, and this was my blurb about it. I honestly wasn't like a big One Direction's fan when I was in high school, when they were like up and coming, but for some reason, I think a lot of people share a similar sentiment, but for some reason, like, it still affected me a lot, just because I think they were such a big part of pop culture back then. So yeah, I just made an entry about that, and again, I went swimming with my friend. On this day, I made some marinated eggs, and this was a recipe that I used. And I made it because the next day we had family dinner, and it was so nice because my sister, my brother-in-law, my baby nephew, as well as my brother-in-law's side of the family and my best friend all came to our house, and it was just so nice. And evidently I didn't get too much work done, which is a good thing. So there's that. This is very bright. This is the Fruity Fun washi. This is one of my new favorite quotations. Doodled some flowers. Ooh, yes, I got a sunlight alarm from the brand Philips, and I have been loving it so far. I wanted to document like 5 days of reviews, but I only ended up doing day 1. But yeah, anyways, I have been loving it. And then on this day, I took some notes from an article. What happened here? I think I was, again, just like really busy and I didn't have much to write on this day. So I pasted in these like little writing samples. I have been doing kind of like a series on TikTok where I showcase all of my fountain pens. So this is what I did for that. I was really excited about all of the Halloween candies that I bought. I always like to get cool stuff. I imagine kids going home after Halloween and discovering some cool candies that you don't often get. Ooh, yes. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. I am so excited about these quotation mark stickers. These are on washi paper, and I also have a black and white version, and I love how they look. It's a really simple design, but I don't know why I'm really excited about it. I drew myself rotting in bed, contemplating life. This was Halloween Eve, and this is a sticker gifted to me by Corolla. She is so talented. And then this was Halloween. My friend came over and we watched Ready or Not while we had dinner and waited for kids to come around. And then for the November title page, I wrote down all of the prompts so that I can easily refer to it. So that is it for this video. I'm decently satisfied with my spreads from the past 2 months, especially given how hectic things have been. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Take care. Hello, welcome to my May planner update. I don't have a lot of exciting things to show you. However, everything that I'm going to show you, I am excited about. I'm going to take my jewelry off because it's kind of annoying having it clacking against everything. Okay, so we are going to start with my pocket bullet journal, and then I will show you my reading journal, then my take a note planner, and then my Hobonichi cousin. Starting with my pocket bullet journal, I think I only have 3 spreads to show.